All right, now we want to talk about the annual percentage rate. If we are buying a car that costs this much, we pay this much down payment, we borrow $4,100, we make a total of $5,944 in payments, so we're paying this much in interest. The question is, what is the rate at which we are borrowing that money? And we can use a table to look that up, and we use what's called a reverse lookup in this table. Every other table we use in here, pretty much, we go to a row and a column, we find a table factor there, and we do something with that table factor. We multiply it times something. In this case, we're going to try to find the table factor and then go up and see what rate of interest produces that table factor. Okay, so this is kind of the weird table that we use in this course because it works backwards from everything else. It's not hard, it's just different. If you look at that table that says the annual percentage rate table, up at the top you can see underneath those percents it says finance charge per $100 of amount financed. Finance charge per $100 of amount financed. I'm just going to write those words and we can get the formula out of that. Finance charge per $100 of amount financed. Now, the way we get the formula out of these words, which will be given to you with the table on the test, is first of all, we set this aside for a moment. The word per means divided by, doesn't it? So, it's finance charge per amount financed. Finance charge per amount financed. That means it's finance charge divided by amount financed, isn't it? Because per means divided by. And if the table gave us the finance charge or the finance charge per dollar, that's all we would do. But the table says finance charge per $100 of amount financed. Of means to multiply, doesn't it? So after we take the finance charge per amount financed, that tells us per dollar, but we want per $100 of, so we multiply this times 100. That's kind of a roundabout way, but it keeps you from having to memorize this formula. This is the formula for finding that table factor that we're going to look up. It's take the total finance charge, divide by the amount financed, and multiply times 100. So let's use these numbers. The finance charge is $1,844. We divide that by 4,100. We multiply that by 100, and we round it to the nearest penny. And what does everybody get? Does $44.98 sound good to everybody? $44.98. What that means is, for every $100 we borrowed, we're paying just under $45 interest. That's 45%, isn't it? But it's over 60 months, it's over 5 years. So we're not paying 45% interest, all right? Not at all. But as a ratio of the total interest to the amount financed, we're paying 45%, just about, in that ratio. So here's what we do. We say we're going to look for that $44.98 in our table. We're going to go looking for that $44.98 in our table. Well, there's a lot of places where we could find it. First of all, we almost never will find this number in there. Okay? But we're going to try to see what two numbers is it in between. So we have to be in the correct row. Notice on that table, the first column gives the number of payments. So how many payments are we talking about in this example? 60 payments. So we want to go down to the last row. Look in row 60. We're trying to find $44.98. Notice the table continues on to the next page. We're not going to find $44.98, but we're going to find the two numbers that it would lie between. What number actually in the table is just less than this? $44.32. And what number is just bigger than this? 45 what? 11. Thank you. Okay. So we didn't find our number, and we didn't expect to, but we found the two numbers that our number lies between. So what we do is we go to the top of this column and say, what interest rate produced this number? At the top of that column, 15.5. So 15.5% interest produced this number, and since the table goes in quarter percents, is this 1575? All right. So what we say is 15.5% produced this number, 15.75% produced that number, so our actual annual percentage rate is between, that's not the right way to hyphenate it, between 15.5% and 15.75%, and that is a perfectly good answer for the test or for the homework problems in the book. Now, legally, a car dealer can't say, we'll sell you this car for $4,100, $95 down, and we'll charge you somewhere between 15.5% and 15.75%. They can't do that legally. They have to advertise the rate to the nearest quarter percent. All right? So if we were a car dealer having to advertise our rate, now you won't have to do this. You might have to do this on Homework Manager. If they ask for just one rate.
I've had a lot of it would be the exact table factor number.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, then they're making it easy for us. Basically, they're just asking which one is it closer to. All right? So this number is 13 cents away. There's 13 cents difference. And here there's, what, 66 cents difference? So obviously this number is closer to that. All right? So if Homework Manager asked for one rate, we would give them that rate because our table factor is closer to that one. If a car dealer were selling a car under these circumstances, they would have to advertise their rate as 15.75%.